I did something pretty crazy last month and posted on YouTube every single day for 29 days straight. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about why I did that, as well as what I learned through that process. I used to struggle with serious perfectionism. My dad would literally look at my homework, and if the handwriting didn't look good enough, he would literally crumble it up and make me do it over. Now, if you think that's like abusive or whatever, then you must not have had immigrant parents. These are character building opportunities, so I'm not saying this to garner any sympathy. I'm just letting you know that, I was taught to have a certain level of standard for my work. I thank my parents and the way that they raised me for a lot of things that have made me ultimately very successful. But I think sometimes that perfectionism is just not productive. Most times, actually, that level of perfectionism is not productive. So one thing that I wanted to test with this, what I ended up calling my 29 days of power, was, okay, I have these assumptions and beliefs that I need to spend such a long period of time on each thumbnail for it to be good. I need to spend so much time outlining these videos and perfecting it in the editing process to make sure that the video has no ums and no ahs and no little stutters, right? Like, I was obsessed with every single part of the process. They have to matter, right? Because everyone on YouTube tells you that they matter. So I'm like, okay, well, if I can create a video every single day for an entire month, it will have to force me out of my perfectionistic tendencies, because there's no way I'll be able to get that level of volume and consistency if I'm going to be spending hours a day, because I also have a full-time job. Like, I don't have time for that level of obsession if I'm trying to get a video out every day. The whole objective for this 29 days of power was not just to give you value and to make you feel powerful and to talk about things that I love talking about, but it was also to help me feel more powerful, to help me shed some of the perfectionistic tendencies that I started to believe might not be as productive as I thought they were. I cannot describe to you how grateful I am for this experience. Within the first day of my 29 days of power, I had a video get more views than any other video that I ever posted in the past on YouTube. I have been on YouTube on and off inconsistently because of the burnout since 2021. And I would be lucky if any of my videos even got 100 views in the past. But within the first day of me just deciding that I can get on camera and talk and not have to script everything out, and then when it comes to the editing process, I don't have to like edit every little piece of it, and then when it comes to the thumbnail and title process, I don't have to obsess over the SEO and how the thumbnail looks. Like, I can just record, edit, and then post really quickly, and that video to get more views and higher engagement. Because views are not the most important thing to me at all. What's the most important thing to me is if you guys are commenting on my videos and actually like starting a conversation and showing me that I've helped you think differently about something. Within the first day, I got confirmation, but of course I'm like, okay, well, maybe this could be a fluke. Maybe there's something trendy about this title or whatever. So every single day after that, it's like, okay, some videos performed really well, some videos performed average, but even the average videos performed so much better than my videos before. And what was the most amazing part about all of it is, for once since being on YouTube, I actually felt like I was building community. I actually felt like I was inviting comments in my comment section that were like part of a larger conversation. I actually felt like people were really taking in what I was saying and thinking about it. And then towards, like the middle and end of this 29-day period, I actually felt like people were looking forward to seeing my videos. It was such an amazing lesson in just challenging your assumptions. If you have something where you feel like you're being a perfectionist about it and you're so fixated on things needing to be done a certain way, if you can just ask yourself, do I know this to be true? Do I know that I need to spend this much time on something in order for it to perform? Do I know that I need to study in this specific way in order for me to retain the information? Do I know that I need to work out in this specific way or eat in this specific way in order for me to get to my goals? How much of those assumptions are things you've actually put to the test, and how much of them are just assumptions that are unfounded and just based on maybe your fears and anxieties and trying to control the outcome? Honestly, running that experiment for that 29 days and seeing all of my assumptions just vanish into thin air and get shattered has helped me really think about, like, what other things am I speaking into existence that are not helpful? What other things am I assuming about my success that are just not helpful? And how can I continue to create the reality that I want instead of just like believing in the messages that I hear from other people? When I first started thinking about this experiment, as I like to call it, I'm like, be honest, Rima. Are you trying to do this so you can like grow your subscribers fast? Are you trying to get, your silver plaque? Like, if that is the case, And on the 29th day, if you don't get that, are you going to feel like this was all in vain? So I had to be really honest with myself. And I'm like, no, actually, like, obviously it would be amazing if I grew my subscribers. It would be amazing if I hit these metrics. But more importantly, this is not about an external thing as much as it's about how I want to feel. I want to feel like somebody for whom creating content is easy. I want to feel like it's fun. I want to feel like there's not these 1,000,001 barriers physically and even mentally between me and the camera. Because I'm telling you guys, like, I was that girl that was like using all these SEO tools to try to find the best title. And then when I would come up with the title that it says was the best, I'm like, this doesn't even sound like me. Like, I don't like this title. So I would constantly grapple between like, should I do what they're saying is gonna perform the best so that people can actually see my video and hear my message? Or should I come up with a title that actually sounds like me? And sometimes I would choose the latter, sometimes I would choose the former, but the point is I never felt self-assured, and I never felt like I knew how to approach those decisions from a way that felt like I had conviction. Now I'm so sure that I don't need to create all these barriers. I can just pop this camera up regardless. Like, I'm already starting to think of like all these different ways where content creation used to feel so inaccessible to me because I was being a perfectionist. Like, quick example that I thought about today is I will likely be visiting Lebanon again, you know, very soon, because our family lives there and our parents live there. And whenever we visit Ahmed's family, we're sleeping in his childhood bedroom, which is really cute in theory, but obviously like it's his childhood bedroom. It's not like set up for any type of content creation because it's his childhood bedroom. And the lighting isn't always optimal. So before I was like, okay, well, whenever we're here, I'm just gonna be okay with not creating content, which was fine because I got to spend a lot of quality time with family and I always made peace with it in that way. But now I'm like, who cares if the aesthetic is not cute? Who cares if there's freaking footballs and soccer balls and basketballs on the wallpaper? That's a vibe. Like, that's adding more to my personality. It's adding more to my life, bringing you guys behind the scenes where my husband grew up and spent his childhood, and having a weird backdrop that you're not used to seeing. Like, why wouldn't I just pop up the camera and put a ring light on and just talk to you guys from there? Because that's where I'm at. One of the things I prayed to God for this year was to shed dead weight, to shed dead mindsets, to shed these things that were like creating a lot of self-doubt and all these like invisible barriers in my head. And I can honestly say that like I really feel like that right now. I feel like the sky is the limit, and I feel like I'm only just getting started because I've just kind of like done spring cleaning in my brain. So if you feel like self-doubt or fixed mindsets or limiting beliefs or whatever you want to call them are standing in the way of you getting what you want, honestly, do what I did. Create some sort of experiment that really challenges those limiting beliefs. Create some sort of game that you play that lets you know, oh, I guess this isn't true, or oh, I guess this wouldn't play out the way I always assumed it would play out. Think about the limiting belief that you have and ask yourself, how can I run an experiment that helps me decide whether this limiting belief is rational and true or whether it's not? And you know, you might be wondering like, okay, well, what if I run the experiment and it is true? Then at least you know. Like, if I ran this 29 days of power and my videos tanked and they all performed horribly and, you know, didn't perform as good as the videos where I was optimizing my SEO or thinking I was optimizing, clearly I wasn't, or I was, you know, getting better conversations in the past, then at least I know that my time is being spent effectively. I think what was really driving me crazy at that point is feeling like I was being a perfectionist to no avail. Like, there was nothing that I was getting from it. And there was just this nagging thought in my head of like, am I doing this for no reason? Because that would be annoying, because it doesn't even feel fun right now. And so the thought that I was like sucking the fun out of it and for no reason at all was just kind of killing me. I'm about to look so funny right now. I hope you guys like my process of doing my hair. But challenge those thoughts. Like, they don't get to just live there and control your life without earning their place. If they're a valid thought, then they're a valid thought and we rest our case. But I mean, what I found is that it wasn't a valid thought. They were so invalid. If anything, they were counterproductive, and they were the exact thing stopping me from getting what I wanted. And now I just feel so excited. Like, this has genuinely felt like so much fun to me because I've taken the parts that don't feel fun out of the equation. What you looking for?
Her glasses.
Whose?
Cece's.
I think they're in her room. I put them on her shelf. One thing I learned way too late in the game is that perfectionism is literally just an excuse to hide your insecurities. Perfectionism is just another word for I'm way too insecure to put this out there and let anybody see it. When you see people who have made it, quote unquote, in the career that you want or in the life path that you want, you don't see them being perfectionists. Like, you see them being able to just kind of, I don't want to say cut corners, but just be more raw and show more of the behind the scenes. And honestly, I would argue that people love them more for that. At the time where I learned that perfectionism is just code for I'm too insecure to show up as I am, I was building my own business and I was consulting for clients. And even though I was very smart, I was degreed up, like I knew what I was talking about, there was still this imposter syndrome around, but why would they want to listen to me? Or what if I don't really know what I'm talking about? Or what if they don't think I'm as smart? You know, like I had all these questions. And so I would spend so much time perfecting the way my presentations looked, perfecting every single word on the slide, perfecting my delivery. And again, I don't want to ever make it seem like I'm telling you to be lazy or to not care about your presentation. Like, I care a lot about my presentation, but there's a certain level that you have to understand, like a tipping point where it just becomes unproductive. And it's less about showing up in a way that feels like you, and it's more about showing up in a way that hides the things that you're scared for people to see. That's the fine line that I needed to learn to balance. Now it's like, oh, I care about my videos. I care about the content. I care about the message. I care about the community and learning about you guys and learning what you want me to talk about or what things are resonating the most with you. But, you know, I don't care about editing every single piece of the video because that's not the point of my videos. My videos are not meant to have all these effects. They're meant for the message to hit. I care that my message hits. And if my message doesn't hit, then I will throw the video out. Like, that's not being a perfectionist. That's just taking pride in having a purpose, right? And understanding what my purpose is. I love when words start with the same letter. Taking pride in what you do is important. Having passion and purpose is also important. Being a perfectionist prevents you from pursuing your purpose. Boom. Being a perfectionist will prevent you from pursuing your passions and your purpose. That was so obnoxious. But no, for real, like the same man, my dad, that, you know, indirectly taught me to be a perfectionist, also taught me to take pride in what I do. I remember one day, I was literally in like 7th grade. My parents were in the living room and I was folding a basket of laundry. And I was kind of just trying to get through them. Like, I think I wanted to go play outside with my cousins. And I was just like quickly folding the laundry. And my dad saw how I was folding them. And he like stopped me and he made me redo them. And he was like, take pride in what you do. And I remember thinking he was so dramatic because I'm like, it's literally an undershirt. Like, calm down. But the words stuck with me. Like, it really stuck with me. And now when I'm trying to figure out how much effort should I be putting into something, how much intention and time and energy, I think about that. I think about, you know, what does it look like for me to take pride in what I do? How can I approach my work from a place of, wow, I'm proud of this, and not from a place of this is perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. Artists talk about that all the time. Like, there's never a perfect piece. There was just a deadline or not enough time to work on it. So I wonder what that brings up for you. Is there a certain level where you know you're proud of the work that you do? Is there a certain amount of, you know, time and effort you put into something to where you feel proud of it? Not to where it feels perfect, not where you have zero insecurities about it. That's not at all what I'm talking about. Like right now, I'm fully aware of how pale my face looks, okay? I will definitely be a tiny bit insecure posting this, but I know that my message is real because this is something I've journaled about, I've reflected about, and it's something I genuinely feel excited to talk to you about. But am I slightly insecure about how crazy I look right now? Maybe, but that's not my barometer anymore. In the past, when I was being a perfectionist, my question to ask myself is, do I have any reservations about this at all? And if the answer was yes, I would not post it. I would not submit it. In order to get your work product to a point where you have no reservations at all about it, where you're not a little tiny bit scared to post it, where you're not a little tiny bit insecure, then it needs to be boring. Like, think about it. If I'm literally reading off of a script and I'm so polished and I'm wearing this like perfect outfit and my hair has no frizz in it, will I have no reservations? Maybe not, but like the piece of content would be boring. The little things where you're like, ooh, I don't know if I should post that. That's what makes it interesting. The little things that you're insecure about, that's what makes it fun. Instead of asking yourself if something is perfect, ask yourself if you're proud of it. Ask yourself, if you look at this piece of work, do you feel proud of the message? Do you feel proud of what you created? Just ask yourself that. I can say that one of the proudest moments of my entire creator career was this 29 days of power. And mind you, like, I've had videos on TikTok and even Instagram that got 100 times more views and engagement. Like on our couples account, I've had a video get over 1 million views with hundreds and thousands of comments, and I was proud of them, don't get me wrong. But with the 29 days of power, even with a fraction of the views, a fraction of the number of comments or followers, I still felt 10 times as proud, because never in the history of me creating have I been more me as consistently as I was. Never in the history of me creating have I kind of set aside all of those insecurities and all of those fears and just did what I love. So it gives me so much hope, because I'm like, oh my God, if I set all of this aside for 29 days straight and showed up consistently regardless and didn't let all this stuff get to my head, imagine what I'll do now. Imagine what I'll do. I want nothing more for you than for you to be able to say the same. I want you to test those doubts that are just taking up space in your head rent-free. I want you to really pressure test them and ask yourself, are these real, or are these just things I've made up to prevent me from going where I truly want to go? And I can really guarantee you that they're probably made up. And even if they're not fully made up, I don't think they're as true and as much of a barrier as you are assuming that they are right now. So I want you to put those to the test so that you can really just start to clear all the barriers that are standing in the way of you creating the life that you were born to create. I heard this quote the other day, and I want to leave you with this. The 2 most important days of your life are the day that you were born and the day that you find out why. I'm trying to find out why. I don't know about you. I feel like I'm getting closer, but I am trying to find out why, because that will be like so exciting. And if I spend the rest of my life trying to figure out why, that sounds like an amazing, fun excursion to be on. I love you so much. And as always, stay powerful, my love.